everybody. I'm Timothy Mitchell, and I have a wonderful guest today. This is in preparation to the Mimaki Digital Textile Microfactory. It's happening October 30th in Los Angeles. If you have any interest whatsoever in digital textiles, and you should, you'd be foolish not to, this is the event to attend. It is an event where I'm taking all of the smartest people in the industry, and then I'm going to spend 2 days out there and talk to all of them, because I'm going to learn an enormous amount by talking to guys like my guest here, which I always learn a lot about from. I learn a great deal from, and it is Ken Bach of Aberdeen Textile, or Aberdeen Fabrics. Ken, what's the official? Is it Aberdeen Textile or Aberdeen Fabrics?
It's actually Aberdeen Fabrics. Thank you,
Aberdeen
Tim.
Fabrics it is. My pleasure. So, Ken, I've known you a long time. You've been my guide through much of the sublimation industry. Tell me a little bit about yourself, and then also a little bit about Aberdeen, because you have a very unique story that I think people need to hear.
Sure. Well, I've been in the graphics industry since 1984, back in the photographic days.
When we did it 84.
84. Yeah, my age is getting up with me, right? I mean, you and I have known each other a long time before we both had a lot more gray. Okay?
I think that was Ronald Reagan's second inaugural.
It might have been. But the point being is back then we did it in a very dirty way by doing it through a process of chemicals and putting prints on walls, right? And we evolved into inkjet. I mean, Ilford did back in those days. That's where I worked for. And then eventually I ended up at Aberdeen into the fabric industry. And that's about 15 years ago. You know, Aberdeen Fabrics is the only U.S. manufacturer selling directly to the end user. Actually, we're probably the only U.S. manufacturer selling into the graphics market. All our competition comes over from China at this point. What stands out about Aberdeen is not only our quality and widely respected products around the U.S., it's also the fact that we have the greenest process to date. You know, let me back up for a second. You know, fabric is a very dirty process to manufacture. It's actually the number one producer of microplastics in the world. And that's through both washing our clothes, but also manufacturing fabric, because it requires a great deal of water. We use 1/20th amount of water, and we have no wastewater coming off our system, which means we produce no microplastics into the environment, unlike just about every one of our competitors. And that's through a proprietary process that Tim Gallagher developed, the owner of Aberdeen. The other thing that's unique about Aberdeen, we're a family business. You know, we basically do right by our customer. You know, that's in our DNA. We're not a corporate-owned company where we have to behold the stockholders. We behold basically to our customers. That's a little bit about Aberdeen. I can go on further, Tim, for hours about it, because I'm very proud to work for this company.
I think those are very key things. So you're an American manufacturer of the fabrics that you sell.
Yep, out of North Carolina.
You guys have been in business for quite a long time doing it.
Yep.
You have decades of experience with it, and you have a process that you utilize that nobody else does, that uniquely removes the microplastics that are just dumped everywhere by our competitors, and that also you use very, very little water and produce very little waste, so your sustainability and green messaging is legit.
Yep.
I think those are very, very important. And the quality, I'll speak from a person who's run sublimation, the quality of your products is excellent. I mean, your fabrics are very, very good.
Yeah, and the other thing, Tim, I just want to point out, we're not stopping there. Next year, we're going to go solar. So even though the energy we're using, we're going to minimize that even further. And the fact that our fabrics can be made from completely recycled content, and we recycle our fabric. So we're up in the ante. And we're not just doing it to sell more fabric, which obviously we hope we do. Tim is in his background. I mean, he wants to do right by the industry. He wants to basically clean up our industry. So I give him a lot of credit.
Well, that's a very, very illuminating and refreshing story. I thank you very much for sharing it. And I think one of the things you'll get coming to this event that we're having is you'll get a chance to talk to people like Ken. And also you get the exposure to companies like Aberdeen that if you're not kind of in the industry, you may not know who Aberdeen is, because I think you guys seem to have a very, like within the industry, people know who you are, but outside of the industry, you keep a very low profile. You know, for years, I used to complain to you that your website was very, like it was a single page and there was a name and there was a phone number. And I thought, that's not a website. Well, you have a very nice website now.
You know,
but you told me, I said, everyone who is in the industry knows digital printing, fabric knows us. You know, we have relationships.
You know, as I've said to folks, we make a great product. We are a lousy marketing company. That's not been what our forefront. We've finally got a website up and running. But you're right, Tim. For years, we were the nicest company to work with that no one heard about.
Yes,
Maybe the best
right.
way to put it.
But I was sold when we started getting all of your fabric rolls in, and I said, this is really good fabric. It's very consistent. It
Yep.
looks fantastic, and you have a very nice selection of fabrics. So if you're in now, do you have different categories? For example, do you have transfer, direct, and UV, or
Yes.
do you focus more on others, some than not others?
I mean, we mainly focus on dye sublimation, but we do have a UV line that we are actively selling. It's just a UV, latex, and other products are just not as popular. Most folks are wanting
Sure.
to do fabrics for graphics are doing dye sublimation. So both transfer and direct is probably 90% of our business. But we do have a section going out to the other ink sets.
Okay. Ken, anything else you want to say? I appreciate you stopping by. I want to make sure Aberdeen Fabrics gets a very formidable billing for this event because I know you'll be on my panel talking about fabrics, and you gave me a lot of really good suggestions of questions to ask. Anything you want to note in closing before I make this video and then put it up on social media?
No, Tim, I want to thank you for including us. Mimaki has always been one of the companies I respect the most as far as in our industry. I can go back a little bit further when I worked for a company prior to Aberdeen. Mimaki was the unit that we were selling early on as a dye sub. So I know Mimaki's history quite well. I look forward to working with you guys much more closely again. And again, I want to thank you for including us in this event.
Yeah, it'd be my pleasure. It would be a big missed opportunity not to have you guys there. I mean, I think you represent a lot of things in the industry that's very forward thinking while maintaining excellent products. And I think you're a great spokesperson for the industry, and your knowledge is something that I want people to have access to at this event. And I think it will clear up a lot of misconceptions about fabric. So thank you very much for joining me, Ken. I will put this up soon, and I'm looking forward to seeing you at the end of the month.
Yep, same here, Tim.